And welcome to episode 39 of 280's Reading Comics. Power Rangers Volume 2. Very excited. Make sure you're following us on Instagram and Twitter. Those should be popping up right here. Also follow us on Facebook. I almost fucked up right there. But thank you for watching the show. Keep coming back. Hit like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Help us with the algorithm. Subscribe podcast, subscribe YouTube, all the fun stuff. All right, let's get into the show. And welcome to episode 39 of 280's Reading Comics. This week, not fan favorite, host favorite, Power Rangers Volume 2. Very excited to be back in this. Davis, hopefully this time we can stick more to the story instead of just gush about Power Rangers for 45 minutes.
Well, I did want to gush about this.
Okay.
So, Netflix has every Power Rangers made.
And how many have you watched?
More than I should feel comfortable saying out loud.
Do they hold up, though?
Yes and no.
Let me guess, the later ones hold up, the earlier ones don't.
The early ones don't.
Gotcha.
I'm still not going to not. I'll sit there and I've turned them more into background noise than anything else.
Just a lot of hiya.
Yeah. But other than that, that's where I had to say it. They're all on there. It's everything that you can remember. And some shit that I didn't even
remember.
There were some weird ones between like the.
I was thinking about that when we were editing.
The Mighty Morphin. Right, so you had the Mighty Morphin, then you had the Turbos. Yeah. Between the Turbos and like the Time Force and Wild Force shit, there's some wild stuff.
Oh yeah, no, when I was editing that episode, I was like, I'm pretty sure we're gonna look dumb because there were, I guarantee, like at least like 10 in between those, and we made it sound like it was bump. Yeah, and I was like, no, because we were like mid to late 2000s when we started rewatching again, and there was like some solid seasons in between there. Yeah. And now, a good friend of ours who played football with us at Birmingham Southern is now a producer for a sports radio station in Birmingham, Alabama. Is also a giant Power Rangers fan, and on Facebook I saw, I think it was for Black History Month. It had like all the Black Rangers and stuff, and I liked it.
Yeah.
And now all my suggested pages on Facebook is nothing but Power Ranger stuff. And it's like, oh, there's one that definitely happened in between that we had no idea about.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're not completely dumb. We just are 4 or 5 seasons that we liked a lot. So.
Yeah. That's what got me into it.
And it probably happened later in our life than we are proud to admit, but whatever.
Probably.
Yeah. But back to the story. It picks up right where Volume 1 left off.
Yes.
We probably need to credit some people. I have it if you...
Yeah, what you got?
I have written by Kyle Higgins. Art by... Oh, is that Thawny Silas?
I got Thomas Silas. I was in a hurry. Obviously, I messed that name up. Thomas Silas. Boy, I did not pay attention. Henry Presedia.
Yes, Henry Presedia. Colors by Brian Valenza. That's
what I've got.
Okay, and Matt Herms. And then letters by Ed Dukeshire.
Yeah.
What?
Well, I write down almost everybody.
Yes, you can go ahead and round that out if you want.
Covers. Yanni Montez, designer Jillian Crabb, assistant editor Matthew Levine, associate editor Alex Gaylor, editor Daphne Pleben.
Is that Galler or Gaylor?
I got Galer.
Okay, we'll go with yours. But yeah, and I think on art and colors, I think this is one of those situations where I was like, one person did one issue, and the other did like
Thomas
the other
Silas and Brian Valenza did 5, and Hendra Presetti and Matt Herms did 6 through 8.
Wasn't a giant difference that I could tell.
No, see, and that's what I talked about in the Venom was, I mean, if you do different artists, at least keep them.
Hey,
keep them the same.
Can you try to draw like this for a little bit? Yeah.
And at least this, where they did number 5, was before
Yeah.
the Green Lantern, before Tommy ever shows up.
Oh yeah.
So
You said Green Lantern, not Green Ranger.
Green Ranger. So you can
yeah.
kind of have
It was
there's
a
little
flashback issue.
So it can be different.
Mm-hmm.
And then you lead into 6, 7, and 8 where they're one story.
Yeah.
Then it's one group of artists.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind it when they're different. It's just make it fit where it needs to fit. Yeah.
Consistent and makes sense. All right. Speaking of that flashback episode or flashback issue, how fucking and these are like this is the depth you didn't get with the TV shows, which is something I like about it. But the fact that Rita Repulsa offered the green or the dragon coin, power coin, to Zach before she found Tommy.
The Black Ranger.
Yes.
That was wild.
Yeah.
And
that explains why he was acting so weird in Volume 1.
Because he kind of, he knew the feeling. He knew what that power
he knew what Rita
could
promised.
have been. Yeah. Because it sets up there in Italy and Rita is attacking
Which,
Rome
by the way,
with
this, I think,
like
outside of the movies, I think the movies took place a couple different times. And then obviously like the seasons that were like in outer space and stuff like that. But not too often, especially in the early days, did you ever see them go out of Angel Grove? And the fact that they were in Italy was cool.
Yeah, they've become
worldwide. Prestige worldwide.
But you see where Zach, the Black Ranger, comes out of the Zord while the rest of the team's fighting Rita's monster.
The Red Ranger gets out to try to save the Prime Minister.
I thought the Black Rangers. Oh, that's right. Red saves the Prime Minister.
Yes, but it was about to get squashed.
Zach leads.
Get out of the fucking way.
Yeah.
Slaps or slices them in half.
That's right. Zach leads the Zord, the Megazord.
Yeah.
And yet everybody saw Red
and so
get the glory.
Yeah.
And it kind of it irks him, and Rita tries to take advantage of it.
Yeah.
And again, shows him what it could be like as the Green Ranger.
Yeah.
The power,
the whole
prestige,
does the whole thing of like, look, I'm trying to help y'all. Y'all just have to give me control of everything type shit.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. And what I really loved was, and again, like we talked about in Invincible, of the cliches, jilted team member gets offered this amazing power, normally takes it.
Yeah.
And wants to be better. And Zach's like, fuck off.
We're a team.
Like, we're a team. Yeah, we're a team. Like, I get upset.
And then he gets rewarded for it because, he talks to Zordon and all that, tells him right away. But then he goes out to eat with the rest of the team, and Red Ranger, why can't I remember his name?
Crud.
Oh, Red Ranger.
Yeah.
First thing he says is like, you really saved my ass back there. You really stepped up. Way to go.
Like, you really should deserve the credit. Like, and I liked that because it also, Zach was sitting there. He goes, okay, I feel better. Yeah. Like this is why I chose not to join Rita.
Yeah, like he got rewarded for it and stuff like that. But, I thought I was like, man, this is just the stuff you didn't get back in the day.
Yeah. And then in that, Rita's like, okay, well, we can't go after a ranger. We have to find somebody new.
Yeah, and then I had completely forgot about how Black Dragon had a different text box. Because it's that black and gray, and he says, that won't work either. He'll turn against you. And then, of course, she's like, who the fuck is that? And he's like, when the time comes, you'll see me. And then, of course, she goes through with her plan with Tommy. Doesn't work out. And then it picks up right where Volume 1 left off. And you see his text box, and you're like, oh, shit, that was the guy who was talking to her.
Yeah. And they are getting fucking wrecked.
Oh, yeah. Beating the shit out of him. And is basically almost, and does, separate them from their powers, messes up their access to the Morphin grid.
Yeah. That was wild.
Yeah.
They get away from him, all but the Blue Ranger.
Yeah. How about Blue Ranger getting stuck in the dark dimension with Gordon?
Goldon.
Yeah. And,
And then Goldon's sitting there going, "Oh yeah, this is my dimension, but I messed up, so I'm punishing myself."
or I got punished. Yeah. And
Billy's like,
Billy's like,
"Well,
well, where I'm from, the enemy of my enemy is your friend. And Gordon's kind of having that moment of like, well, no, I still worship Rita Repulsa.
Yeah.
But should I? And Billy's basically like trying to
manipulate the hell out of him.
un-Stockholm syndrome Gordon for a minute. Or Goldon, whatever the fuck it is.
And then Goldon realizes, he's like, well, I can get back on Rita's good side by getting rid of the other guy that's now taking her power.
Yeah.
But it was cool how...
Now, when you read Goldon's text, did you read it in the voice? Do you still remember it?
Yeah, it's like a scratchy...
It's like this super douchey kind of like, ugh, stuff like that. But yeah.
Like in my head, I was like, wait, that doesn't sound like
no.
Yeah. In my head, I was doing this weird sound. I'm like, where's that? I remember now.
Yeah.
But
I do that with the Joker and Harley Quinn a lot too.
Yeah.
I can read in the animated voice.
What I thought was cool was the Green Ranger got to keep his powers.
Yes.
Because
he accesses the morphin grid differently.
Correct. And so they end up going to the moon to Rita's base.
To try to get
Billy out.
Or Billy out, yeah.
And again, get wrecked. But this is where we find out that the Black Dragon can grow.
Well, we found that out.
Oh, that's right. We found that on
because he wrecked the entire base. And we don't know. We still don't know what's going on with Zordon if he's still alive. They find Alpha like in
the wreckage.
Well, they access him through a computer in their little pocket universe.
That's right.
Type thing. So he's still
functioning.
He's not. He's just his head right now. And Rita was gonna. You have Alpha and you're going to melt him down to our lamp? What the fuck? At least make a crown out of him or something.
That was funny. She was sitting there like, oh, what should I do? Oh, you make bright lights. I'll make you a lamp.
Yeah.
I was like, God dang. But the Black Dragon has also taken control of all the Zords.
Yes.
And it's threatening Earth.
And puts them on a 24-hour ransom clock.
Right. Now, I've read Volume 3.
I have not.
All right.
Don't spoil it.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Recap where Volume 2 kind of ends. Like what's...
Volume 2 ends with they figure out... Because they go to the moon. They end up fighting Black Dragon because he assumed they would go to try to get Billy.
Right.
And they come back. He convinces him to shrink back down to fight him one-on-one.
Mm-hmm.
But Red Ranger is flying the Dragon Zord, cuts off part of his arm.
Yep.
And so they get it back, and then they have their little eureka moment of, well, you still have your powers, you just can't access them right now. And so five not as powerful Rangers is better than one full powered Ranger. And so he uses the...
Green Tommy gives...
Yeah, uses the
powers.
Uses the Black Dragon arm so they can all morph, and now they're all like in their suit, but they're green,
which was really cool.
Yeah, that was a cool.
Giving everybody still
that's a poster I'd like to have.
Yeah,
like,
giving everybody their own all the normal etchings, but yet everything is the green of Tommy.
Yeah,
I enjoyed
and
that.
that's where Volume 2 ended.
Okay, Volume 3's got some cool shit to it.
Well, fuck you for reading ahead.
Hey, we said we were going to read shit at Christmas.
How did... Oh, that's true.
I was sitting on the beach doing nothing.
I don't know. What did I read? No, I binge watched Avatar: Last Airbender and Legend of Korra.
Solid. No, I sat on the beach and read all day for
some
a
people
week.
can afford to go on vacations.
It's called mooching off your parents.
Oh, well.
I paid my part.
But anyways... Another thing I like is that normally, people stick to either 6-issue story arc or a 12-issue story arc. This has gone through 2 volumes, and
it's going through the 3rd.
Really?
So
shoot.
And
hopefully, and it's
actually it'll go through the 4th because at the end of the 3rd it leads in. It's It's still continuing.
Oh, well.
that story arc is still continuing.
All right. Well, hopefully they keep up what they're doing and they don't, like, this story arc doesn't wear out its welcome. So
It's evolved.
Oh, okay.
It's evolved.
Now there are some events. If we keep going with this, I know there are some events. I think one of them's called Morphin Grid or something like that.
Those are way on down the line, though.
Okay, see, I didn't know.
I'm pretty sure those are.
I'm gonna have to Google like when to read the different events of the Power Rangers. So
because we have this one, and then we also have another Mighty Morphin that's
Go Power
before
Rangers.
time. Yeah. That's the start of the Mighty Morphin Rangers.
Yeah.
So,
it's like 2 weeks after they got their powers or something like that. But
which would be kind of cool to see the start of it.
Yeah.
But this one's cool. I really like bringing the Morphin Grid into it more.
Diving into a lore that was just not very well dove into. I mean, obviously Power Rangers is a kid's show. And there's only so many layers you can do before kids are like, what the fuck are they talking about?
Yeah.
And that's what Kyle, the guy who wrote this, was talking about. He wanted the Power Ranger like rights to write the comic book for a long time before Boom actually got it. And he was like, it's not going to be like adult themed, like there's not going to be blood and gore or sex and all that stuff. But it's like, I'm going to write an intriguing story to adults.
Yeah.
And if kids can keep up, kids can keep up.
And the adults that we grew up with it.
Yeah.
Grew up with some aspect of Power Rangers that now are at the age of, okay, we need something more than a single episode story that doesn't just keep building and building.
That very like formulaic show.
Yeah.
Villain
shows up, you defeat the villain then becomes big, so now you jump in a Zord, then the Zord defeats them, then you move on to the next thing.
Exactly.
This is and actually
eventually
showing
a bad guy turns good and fills out the team.
Yeah. And this is showing that there is depth, that like inside those same stories there's a lot more going on. But I love it.
Yeah. How do we go 45 minutes on the first one and only hit 18 now?
Because we went way outside of the story.
That's true.
We went to way other stuff in the first one.
I cannot say enough about how much I love these colors and this artwork.
Oh, jeez. We couldn't talk about this. How about our wish list of wanting the covers? The volumes.
What do you mean?
The 6 volumes that cost.
If for those of you, I don't know if this means it's coming to an end, but there is or if like Kyle's just done his run or what, but there is it's either a Kickstarter or GoFundMe, but basically, a lot of comic companies have started doing this of like, we're gonna make a collector set, but only if enough people order it to make it worth our while. I think Marvel or DC recently did one with like an old character, or an old run, and like just packed like it's basically a giant omnibus, collector's edition, but like it had to hit a certain number of sales for them to actually make it.
Right.
Now if you look at this Power Rangers one, they have way already hit their their selling point. But it's going to be like 6 collector's editions, collecting an entire run with the tie-ins and stuff like that, or like the events tying in and stuff like that.
Hardcovers, like
hardcover,
thick hardcover books.
It's 6 books, so each cover is a different Ranger, and this awesome art style that they have here, and you can either buy one volume for $100 or you can buy all 6 for $500.
There was 15 different tiers.
Yes, and I think at the highest it went to 5,000.
Yeah, and you got,
but it got a bunch of like unnecessary
each
stuff.
one got signed. You had variant signed covers.
Yeah, you had like
you got the stand to put them on that was signed.
Yeah.
Like everything was signed,
but just for All 6 issues with like a little special box to put it in. Nothing signed.
Yeah.
No like alternate cover book sleeves. $500.
Yeah.
And I was like,
It took a lot.
I really want that, but I could do so much
Yeah.
more for the podcast if I didn't spend $500 on that and just my life in general. But I really want it. Now, I don't know when it ends. Maybe I come into some money and I actually do buy it, but I don't see that happening.
No.
It was really sad because I want that so bad.
It was pretty
It's either I order it now for $500 or I spend $2,000 on eBay for the exact same thing.
Don't think of it like that or we'll buy it today.
Exactly.
That's when sadness sets in.
And the fucked up part is I just sold a box of Pokemon cards for $600. So I
Mhm.
could if I really wanted to. But no, I'm buying a house.
We have
so-
life. We have to take care of life first, man. That's how much Power Rangers is to us.
I
Like
want
it's
that so bad. If any of y'all want to buy it and give it to me, that would be even better. I'm just kidding. Don't
For
do that.
us.
I'd feel so fucking bad.
yeah.
Let's also talk about the insane idea you had of you want to split it. Like, no, fuck you, Davis. How are we going to split that?
No, you offered it to me. You
No.
offered. You texted,
I
said,
said,
"This
hey,
is what
look
it
at
is."
this.
Yeah, and my thought was, okay, we buy it together, and it goes on the wall with everything else.
Well, what the fuck am I going to do when I want to read it?
That's your own damn fault.
Exactly.
It's going to the podcast. It's not going to you.
Yeah, which is conveniently at your house right now.
See, it
But-
works out in my favor.
Yeah, fuck you. No. You think I'm going to split it with you? What? I get the evens, you get the odds? No.
Oh, we'll get it every other week. Anytime we come up to read for the podcast, we'll swap it back and forth.
Yeah, but where are you going to put that? In this garage that's not temperature controlled?
Oh no, there's a safe for that.
Okay, actually, I do like that idea. Then.
I'm paying that much for that shit. It's going in the safe.
Or in the house with your dogs that tear up everything.
That's why it's going in the safe.
Exactly.
But
knowing me, I'd
either way.
fucking take a volume home to read it, and then something would happen and it'd get fucked up, and then I would feel terrible.
Oh yeah, because each one's $100-something a piece. Wow.
But if that's something you're interested in, it's on GoFundMe, I think. Or you can just Power Rangers collector, comic book collector set, and Google that. I'm sure you'll find it. But that got us to a respectable time. Again, we don't know what we're reading next month. We'll figure that out along the way.
Yeah. We do know 2 of them. We'll do Absolute Carnage for the first week
Yes.
of April, and for the third week for
The
our continuous
continuous.
will be Volume 4 of Venom. That ties into Absolute Carnage,
And then I think we're going to be done with Venom. after
there's a
that.
lot of tie-in between the 2.
You might want to
so,
read those 2 together, to be honest.
We'll keep y'all updated. Stay
Social medias is where we announce
stay on
everything.
social medias.
So.
Share it with your friends.
And
I
if we
guess-
haven't hit it already, because obviously this comes out almost a month and a half from now, we might do something special for 100 followers on Facebook.
Yeah.
Obviously, I wish that was on YouTube instead,
But
or Twitter, or Instagram. I wanted nothing to do with Facebook, and then I started one, and now we're almost at
It's-
100
it's-
people. So
it's better there than anywhere else. So
yeah. No, there's better places to have it.
well, there's better places to
Better
have
than
it, but
nothing.
there's better fan
Yes.
interaction.
We love our Facebook fans. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
But
love is everybody that likes us and shares
Yes.
us and even thinks that we're doing anything worth anything.
We have 86 people on there, but only 13 subscribers on YouTube, and I don't understand that at all. Come on, Facebook. What are you doing?
Mm.
But thank you to everyone that listens, subscribes, downloads, all that fun stuff.
Yes.
We really appreciate y'all, and I guess we'll see y'all next week.
Bye.
Bye.